on, pretty baby, let's move it and I'll groove it. Shake, baby, please don't lose it. This rhythm that gets into your heart and soul. Well, let me tell you people, it's called rock and roll. They say it's gonna die, but honey, please, let's face it. They just don't know what's going to replace it. Well, ballads and calypso have nothing on. Real country music that just drives along. Well, ballads and calypso have nothing on. Real country music that just drives along. Honey, move it. Well, that's Move It 50 years on. Well, that's me, I suppose, 50 years on. And you, how long has it been? 50 years? I can't believe it. I don't know where the time has actually gone, to be honest with you. Every time someone mentions the things that I've done, of course, it hits home that you can't do those sort of things unless there's been a stretch of a piece of eternity, really. And 50 years, although it seems to have flashed by, has given me fantastic opportunities to do all sorts of unbelievable things. What I wanted to do on this particular DVD is use the time, at least some of it, to say that I am so aware of my career having been followed by you. Those of you that have this DVD will have been to see my concert. Not the first tour that you've ever been to, I'm sure of it. Because I get to that stage now when I recognize some of you on those first 2 or 3 rows. I know what it takes to get those tickets, because it means, like in the case of the Albert Hall, that some of you queued up for 2 or 3 weeks under canvas in February. And if I remember correctly, we did send you breakfast, but I hope the charge wasn't too much. But it's been a fantastic ride for me, and I'm so grateful that you've sort of shared that ride with me all the way through. I don't know about other artists. I just know that there is a difference between us and them and their fans. It feels different to me. The thing I've loved about it is that over the years, you know, quite often we've used big stages, in which case there is no curtain to be drawn. So it's difficult for me to see you before I actually get on stage, but every now and then we have had a kind of curtain of sorts. Now, you wouldn't have known this, but just before we start, I've always crept up, pulled that curtain apart slightly, and I've looked out into the hall. And what's really amazed me is that you tend to meet up in clusters. You know, whether it's a group on the left or a group up on the balcony or a group down here, 2 or 3 groups down here, and you're all chatting away. It's almost as though if I didn't show up, you wouldn't actually notice. And I like the feeling that it's become, I can't say that we're a family, I suppose, but we're a family of sorts. And I've really enjoyed the fact that you seem to like being in my company. I certainly like being in yours. And as I've received letters over the years, what I saw through the curtains was because apparently some of you have met over the years at one of my concerts. You've either got married or certainly remained friends with the people that you met. And that's gone on and on and on, right until this day. So if there is a curtain on any of my shows, beware. Make sure you've had your hair done, because I will be looking out for you. But it's been a fantastic time, absolutely wonderful, wonderful time. And for me, of course, I can't really do a thing like this without saying thank you, not just to you, but to so many people who have played a part in my career. You know, we're sitting in the studio here in Richmond, and it's owned by Alan Tarney. Now, you know, Alan Tarney gave me the biggest single I've ever had in the world, We Don't Talk Anymore. He also gave me songs like Dreaming, Little in Love. There were so many things that we actually did together. In this very studio, we recorded, what was it, the one? Somewhere Over the Rainbow medley. And it's just fantastic memories for me. And of course, great thanks to people like Alan Tarney. Also, Terry Britton, who gave me Devil Woman and a whole bunch of other stuff, Carrie. There was Bruce Welch and the Shadows, of course. How can I not say thank you to them? Would I have existed without them? I don't know. It's just impossible to tell. And fortunately, we don't have to decide whether I could have made it on my own or not. We just did it together. And I've always said that sometimes I'm written up as a sort of one-man band. I don't know of a single one-man band in our business, because every time you see someone, even if you see them on their own, guaranteed backstage there will be a whole band of people, a whole group of people without whom that show that you're watching wouldn't be able to actually proceed. So I'm really aware of it. I'm aware of, for instance, sound equipment. Would I have sounded different if it hadn't been as well attended? You know, engineers that have been phenomenally good for me. I could barely work without Keith Bessie. In fact, wouldn't dream of it. And he's actually on the other end of, hello, Keithy. But you know, there's so much I can say. I've mentioned the Shadows. Now, I'm going to tell you something here and now. Those of you that see the first show at Wembley would already know this fact. But those of you that haven't seen the show yet, and maybe are looking at this DVD, although wait a minute, you can't. You only get the DVD when you come to the show. Anyway, I'm going to be the first person to tell you that without a shadow of a doubt, one of the highlights of my 50 years will be reuniting with the Shadows. That is going to happen, and it'll be in September 2009. I cannot wait. It's taken us a long time to get it together because Hank lives in Australia. Bruce is a publisher. Brian Bennett is so busy writing music for television and films. It didn't seem as though we could ever get our lives free enough to join each other. But for me, it's going to be an incredible finish to 50 years. I'm not suggesting we're all finished. Far from it. Loads for us to still do. But it'll be a great way of, again, saying thank you to you, and also for you to get a chance. Almost certainly, now I don't think I'm overplaying this fact, it's almost certainly the last time that the Shads and I will ever perform together. I mean, you know, we're all way into our 40s now. And well, the chances are that we're not going to get together. So I would say to you that this is going to be our little gift to you, that we'll perform the stuff that you loved best way back in those early days. I still see people on the front row when I sing Living Doll, and I see the guy nudge the girl next to him, or the woman next to him now, and I bet you that they had their first baby when Living Doll was a hit, or she was his Living Doll. We are so aware that we are part of your memories, and you are definitely part of mine. 50 years has slipped by incredibly fast, but nevertheless, for me, it's every single step of the way has been absolutely wonderful, and that could only be because you have been there for me, with me, right the way through. I'm so glad that we've grown old together. Some of us slightly more than others, I admit, but nevertheless, we've done it together. And what can I do to say thank you? Well, I've said thank you. I'm doing this tour so that I can say thank you through my music. The Shadows and I will be saying thank you for the time we had together with you. There is another way, though. I mentioned Alan Tarney, Terry Britton, Bruce Welch, The Shadows, Hank, everybody that's written songs for me. I ought to mention a guy called Chris Eaton. Chris has written Saviour's Day for me, Little Town, a bunch of other stuff, a couple of things from my Nashville album. And he finally came up recently, I won't say finally because hopefully he'll have some more, but he came up about a year ago with the song called Golden. Now you won't have heard this song, and this is the only time you will hear it other than on stage tonight. So what I'd like to do is sing for you the song that he actually wrote for you. It's called Golden because this is my golden anniversary, but it's you that are golden. So my thanks through the song to all of you. Lots of love. Thank you.
Love affairs don't always last forever. Like flowers in the rain, they fade and die. But we have stood side by side through the storms together. Because of you I kept my dream alive. And love has been the song upon my heart through all these years, and I have lived a life that has been blessed through laughter and through tears. And as the seasons change, one thing remains the same. You've always been right there with arms wide open. You're the treasure in my soul, and I will never let you go. A love affair that never will be broken. You have been golden. Destiny has brought me to this moment. I stand before you now with no regret. What a chance to thank you for the memories you've given me, a life filled with happiness. And love has been the song upon my heart through all these years, and I have lived a life that has been blessed through laughter and through tears. And as the seasons change, one thing remains the same. You've always been right there with arms wide open. You're the treasure in my soul, and I will never let you go. A love affair that never will be broken. You have been golden. Da 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 da. And as the seasons change, one thing remains the same. You've always been right there with arms wide open. You're the treasure in my soul, and I will never let you go. You gave me strength, and you gave me life through all the years. You have been golden.